if I can do anything to balance the audio levels out. All right, so getting into game one between Mitoe versus Tit. This is the round of 8 of the ESOC Autumn Tournament, Autumn 2017 tournament. We're getting into game one of a best of 7 series between these two players. Mitoe spawning in the northwest position of the map, playing as the Germans, and then down here in the bottom right corner, we've got Tit playing the Indians. Both players made the very good decision to pick very similar colors to confuse everybody, but I think we'll be just fine.
So, what do you think of these hunts?
That's a good question. So I was talking to Mitoe. I know there's been a little bit of controversy on the forums about what are considered good hunts. And Mitoe is actually leans towards Garya's opinion that a lot of maps that people don't think are balanced are actually balanced. As far as I'm concerned, these look pretty good. Well, actually,
Yeah,
Mitoe
these
has
look really
maybe
good to
one
me.
more hunt, or
At least those first 2 hunts look really fair, I think.
yeah. Actually, yeah, it looks like yeah. Okay. So both players are going to be scouting on the different sides of the map. Looks like Tit has made a good pickup of 50 wood treasure early on. Also scouting on this left side, and he's found this 90 wood treasure early on, so looking good for him. Mitoe, meanwhile, took down this right side path. It looks like the treasures are not quite as good over here. Just the small treasures with 1 guardian and the mine geological ore survey. So Tit, I think, starting off with a little bit of advantage. He's going to go for this 90 wood later on once he is able to get, or actually he might be going for it right now. He's just waiting for the stun to come back.
Yeah, it looks like the Indian player will have a pretty sizable advantage right from the start.
Yeah, definitely winning this treasure war, getting the 100 food as well. Going for this 100 food rather than the 90 wood tells me that he's going to be going for a little bit of an aggressive play to start, rather than doing the more economical style. It looks like he did make a house, but I think he still wants to go for a pretty early age up and go pretty aggressive into Mitoe, which is not surprising, I think. I think Germans is a little bit trouble dealing with Sepoy early on, just because they don't have a musketeer unit, and crossbows are so weak against musket-style units, relative to like skirmishers or something. That putting a little bit of early pressure on them can be very strong.
Yeah, we actually saw a similar game on this same map when Kaiser played against Azarite, and a 10-10 Indian build actually won the game
Oh, really?
in there.
Yeah.
So
I didn't get to see the entire series, unfortunately. I heard it was pretty good.
so yeah, some aggression might work
Yeah.
quite well.
That was the series. I saw game 6 and I saw one clip of I think game 2 where Asa sends
But I
pikes.
don't see a forward villagers so far.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he is
Oh,
sending these 4 villagers
Are those
forward.
4?
All right,
Okay.
I guess that works. Yeah, so the villagers were a little bit late to come forward, so he's not going to be able to put it down very close, like maybe close to here. Although it might not actually be possible. It seems like due to the trade route and also all these trees and the native TP in the way, that he maybe doesn't think that he can
Yeah,
actually
it
get
might
the aggro
just
down.
be exactly what he wanted, because
Yeah.
like you said, his trade route is kind of obstructing the placement.
So yeah, it's possible that this is the best aggro that he can get. And yeah,
We
he's
see a little
putting 4
contention here.
villagers on
Yeah.
it. Oh, nice. Mitoe does get that 90 food treasure. Looks like one of the elephants is over here on the north side of the map. So Tit has split up his elephants a little bit. He's scouting around different parts of the map, but it did keep him from getting one of those treasures. And also Mitoe putting down a trading post very close to Tit's base. This is actually an interesting decision that you can make, right? When you decide where to put your first trading post, knowing that one civ is going to be going aggressive against you, if Mitoe were to put a trading post here or in the same position on the other side of the map, that means that the attack path for Tit is a little bit easier because he can take the trading post and still be pressuring Mitoe's base at the same time. By putting the trading post here, it's harder for Mitoe to defend, but he's banking on Tit not thinking that it's valuable to actually go divert all of his units over across to this side of the map, and assuming that Tit is just going to go straight into his base. Or, if Tit does go for this trading post, then he's not in Mitoe's base.
Yeah, exactly. It will take him a lot of time to just go back and siege down this trading post.
So, it looks
So
like
both players aged up,
yeah,
and
at the same
Mitoe
time.
is starting with a Rex.
Yeah, it looks like he's doing what I kind of expect. He's making a barracks, making a market, playing a defensive style, but not overly defensive at the expense of all of his economy. Right? He's getting his market up. He's getting a few houses. He's putting his barracks defensively, but not way behind his base. Oh, losing a villager there. I don't think he expected to do that. Yeah, he was hurting that very aggressively. I think, yeah, that is a dangerous hunt to herd. Absolutely. It looks like Tit has now brought out another 4 Sepoy. Missed maybe just 1 in the batch. Looks like Mitoe has enough units to defend against this for now. But the struggle with India is not holding off the early Sepoy, but holding off the Sepoy enough, and then stabilizing and getting enough hunts to continue into the mid game without dying to a big Sepoy mess later on. So we'll see how this game continues to play out.
It looks like the Indian player is going for maybe something a bit more economic. He's sent 600 wood and is building consulate right now. So he's not doing some crazy 5 Sepoy pressure.
Right. Yeah, I haven't been keeping up
shipments.
too much with the new patch, but my suspicion is that India in the EP4, where Sepoy only have 180 HP, it's a lot harder to actually put down these massively aggressive pushes in the early game, just because the town center is so much better against them. I suspect that a lot of players are going for slightly more economic builds, where they take advantage of the India house buff and come in, a little bit later into the game.
So maybe he will go for an Ottoman consulate right now?
Yeah, looks like, it's going to be either Ottomans or Brits, right? Ottomans I wouldn't be surprised about, just because the Hussars and the villagers. But the British consulate would get him the Sepoy buff that he needs. Oh yeah, and it looks like he did pick Ottomans. And he does have the Hussars in queue. So I think he's going for a timing here, trying to take advantage of Mitoe's relatively small number of pikemen. Three Hussars.
Yeah, and he's gone for the Hussars from the Ottoman consulate.
I'm trying to think if... It looks like he just had a shipment come in, 300 export, so he's not going to be able to get the 4 Sawar in as well. So it looks like it's going to be 3 Hussars plus all the Sepoy if he tries to go for the timing here. I think he thinks that Mitoe has put down a trading post here. Or at least was looking for some villagers, because Tit was moving a lot of his army there. But Mitoe smartly did put that trading post down on the south side of the map. So it's going to be hard for Tit to take that down. Aggression coming in. Looks like Mitoe's crossbowmen are in a great position. He also has quite a few pikemen, so I don't think he's going to be in too much danger of those Hussars, as long as he's able to keep the crossbowmen on the Sepoy. And yeah, pushing him off.
Yeah, it looks like he will have no trouble defending this.
So yeah, I suppose at this point Mitoe has held off 2 of the India pushes, but there's always that third push that comes in when Mitoe tries to go to the fortress age. You sort of have to hold India 3 times, right? The first time they come into your base, the second time with the consulate, and then the third time when you're trying to get up to the fortress age. You can see Mitoe shipping that 700 wood or gold because he knows that he can't maintain this position forever. Crossbowmen are just so bad against musket type units that it's never a good situation to be in to play this matchup out in H2. So he knows he wants to get to H3 at some point, whenever he can, and he has to hold off the India push during that transition period.
Yeah, and actually we see more and more sepoys, even the 5 sepoy shipment has been sent now.
Yeah,
So this is
huge
quite
number of sepoy
nice.
out on the map. And you know, the market went down. I think Mitoe got all the upgrades he needed out of that one for now. He got both hunting dogs and steel traps, and then the wood upgrade as well. So the market wasn't so valuable for the upgrades that it still had left to research. Mostly it was just the blocking, because right with sepoy against crossbowmen, there are so many sepoy out that you can't win a straight up fight right now. If you're in Mitoe's position, you need to be able to kite, and the market in that case would block for him. Mitoe is going up to H3. I think that this is a slow age up because he doesn't have a shipment available right now. Good decision. He's also training a few doppelsoldiers. You can see. You can see there's just a ton of sepoy in his base right now. Calling the Minutemen, hitting the crossbowmen. He has to be careful not to lose too many pikes, but he wants to pike the tank a little bit. There's still a few hussars, and that makes it a little bit dangerous for Mitoe to lose a lot of his anti-cav. Doppelsoldiers coming out, but they came out in a little bit of an awkward position. I think that they're all going to die, only getting one hussar there. Calling in the villagers to fight as well. But, you know, it's hard to say, but I think Mitoe's going to be holding relatively well. He still has a bunch of crossbowmen left. It looks like most of the hussars, or all of them, are down. And he's going to be getting up to H3 pretty soon.
Well, these sepoys are doing some work, and he's even got a 4 sour shipment now.
Yeah, okay, actually...
Some more reinforcements,
I'm
even
not so
the
sure
villager.
Yeah. Looks like he does clean up the hussars, but yeah, we've got 4 sour coming in. Not a lot of crossbowmen out, and he is going to age up to 3 with actually 2 shipments available, but, you know, the 6 skirmishers are going to die to the soar pretty quickly. And
Yeah, they have no chance to survive.
Yeah. It's not going to be easy for him, right? The problem is that even if he stabilizes off of this, if you look at the recalculated population, it's 25 to 40 in favor of Tit right now. So even if he does hold off this, he's going to be in a lot of trouble later on. Just to continue to break out of this position. You've got so many Soar out right now.
Yeah, it's looking really tough. I mean, there's 40 military pop for blue, and it's just under his TC.
Right, and then 1 doppelsoldier for Mitoe. It looks like Tit also just got in his British consulate upgrade. So now these sepoy, which previously were going to take 2 shots to kill, are now taking 3 shots. A lot of them are actually pretty low HP, but... Oh, and now the war wagon's coming. That was probably the best shipment that he could send right now against so many Solar. But even so, right, it's going to be hard to kite. War wagon's pretty bad at that. Yeah, I'm not thinking that Mitoe's going to have much of a chance to come back into this game right now. The War Wagon shipment got a lot of the Soar, but not as many as he needed. And it looks like Tit even knows about these villagers that we're trying to mine right now. I think he's going to be losing all of these pretty much. Or, okay, maybe not.
Yeah.
But even so, I mean, there's so many
not
units.
all, but...
Another 5 doppelsoldiers, and this is pretty much the last stand. I mean, the doppelsoldiers are a good unit, and they're right under the Tran Center. So that actually went pretty well for Mitoe. He's killing all of these sepoy, but...
Yeah, I think Brew didn't notice them for quite a while.
Yeah. I mean, I think Tit would need to not notice for another 10 seconds, so he could clean up the Soar as well. Because even in this current position, I'm still giving it to Tit. But, I mean, Mitoe's doing what he can to hold on, right? He's still got some units. He doesn't seem to think that he's out right now. He's got maybe 1 more shipment left in him. He can send probably 8 skirmishers next. He's got a little bit of anti-cav now. And I don't think Tit is planning to age up anytime soon. So at least he has that going for him, right? He's still able to fight from one age up. Yeah, now with the skirmishers, he is going to be able to stabilize a little bit. Skirmishers, of course, are a great unit against Sepoy. And as long as he's able to hold off the Sawar, he will be in an okay position.
Will those 4 dubs be enough?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of Sawar.
And they're being focused by the Sepoys quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of them are dead now. There's
Kinda
nothing
wish
to protect those
he
skirmishers.
had brought that other Doppel Soldier and even that other War Wagon, the 1 HP War Wagon
yeah.
over. And yeah, Mitoe calls it GG. Game 1 goes to Tit. You know, Mitoe, I think, would be considered the favorite in this series so far. I believe he made it to the round of 4 last tournament, and Tit did pretty well as well, but only made a quarterfinals finish. So Mitoe is definitely a little bit favored in this series, and definitely considered one of the best players in the world right now. But I think Tit did pretty well here, showed a lot of his strength, showed his India build, and even India on EP4 are still very strong. So I think Mitoe is starting to see that the series can be a little bit tricky right now. Yeah, if you look at the military unit population, you can see the one fight under Mitoe's TC just went so badly for him. He wasn't able to have enough crossbowmen out to really handle the massive Sepoy mass that we saw there. Even the nerfed Sepoy with 180 HP weren't able to stop it.
That was quite an insane trade there.
Yeah. And actually, Tit maintained economic parity the entire time, even with the 3 settler wagons in. Tit was doing pretty much as well as Mitoe in terms of economic unit population until the fight under the TC where he takes a massive lead. So we're going to be going into game 2 now. I actually don't remember the maps in this series, so I'm just assuming that both players know which ones to go on. And now it is Tit to pick for game 2.
I was checking the thread, and interestingly, Mitoe just vetoed all the most watery maps, I would say, because it is kind of a pretty good water player, right? So Indonesia and Wadmalo have been vetoed. But next map, Florida, does allow for some water play, I would say. So maybe he's going to go for that.
Whoops. Oh yeah, okay. So Tit picks British. Kind of expected. His 2 civs that he's most famous for are his India and his British. So no surprise seeing him picking both of those out right now. I'm interested in seeing how Mitoe responds. If he goes for the British mirror, oh, he's going for French. Okay. Yeah. The British, I think, the general consensus on this patch is that they're the best civ. And it's really hard to touch them right now. But French is... I would say that they're one of the more reasonable picks against British. So going into game 2 between Mitoe and Tit, this is the round of 8 of the ESOC Autumn 2017 tournament. Tit currently leads 1-0 in this best of 7 series. And the next map is going to be Florida. I don't know really how this map plays out still. It's kind of a map that has everything going on. It's got a little bit of water. It's got a decent trade route, but it's hard to take the third one, I believe. I don't believe you can actually take it consistently. And then it's got some hunts that are good, and then some hunts that are really hard to see, like the turkeys. Oh, and also you start with the market, so it's kind of a map that has a lot of different things going on at once.
So what do you expect to happen here in this matchup?
So I think we'll see pretty standard play out of Mito. He'll go for some sort of semi-FF. Tit has the opportunity to either follow into H3 or to stay in H2 and try to play it out in H2. My guess is that he will. The only time I play against British is really against Callan, and Callan will never go to H3 ever. He'll always just play it out in H2, no matter what civ I'm playing. I don't know how Tit likes to play this out, so it could really go either way. If he does go to H2, he'll try to just outmask with a lot of units, right? He'll try to get the Musket Hussar composition and just have more stuff than Mito, so that all the fancy skirmisher goon stuff that Mito can do won't matter. Meanwhile, if he goes to H3, he'll try to go for a little bit more longbow goon composition probably, and then just try to have a better eco than Mito, and win, in the normal semi-FF way. It looks like Mito's starting off with the market. I don't know if Tit did that as well. I'm going to find out right now. Okay, it looks like both players got hunting dogs. So yeah, taking advantage of that early market, that'll change the dynamic of the game a little bit. It'll change the build just slightly. Because you start off with that early market, you get to get early hunting dogs and not have to chop a lot of wood. So the age-up times will be a little bit faster. Now looking at the treasures, it looks like Tit has found quite a few good ones, right? He has this 105 coin down over here. This 80 wood, which is somewhat tricky to take sometimes because you have to be able to shoot the pirate with your crack shot ability. And then with the blowgunner, there's no easy way to kill it. You just kind of have to tank the entire thing. Mito, meanwhile, he sees a couple of good treasures. He got the native scout and a couple of small coin treasures. I'm usually a fan of this 2 stray dog treasure, just because it helps, it really accelerates your ability to take other treasures very nicely, but it can be a little bit hard to take, and it takes a lot of time to do so. Going to be grabbing the 80 wood. Mito maybe would have gotten there in time if he had not stopped to take up this 40 food. But it looks like he's not going to be doing that. He does have 2 native scouts, which is really nice for him. He's going to be able to scout a lot of the map, and then later on in the mid game, he's going to be able to see a lot of positions as long as he holds these scouts and keeps them alive.
Yeah, so I'm checking the decks here, and Mito seems to have taken a little bit of an anti-water deck. He's got some 2 caravels there and a frigate.
Yeah.
But it is not going for water at all. He uses a pure land deck.
Interesting, yeah. I don't know if it's going to matter too much either way.
Yeah, probably not. Just 2 cards.
Yeah.
Kind of wasted for Mito. It's not such a huge deal.
Yeah, I mean, usually, right, those last cards that you pick in Colonial and Fortress are the cards that you don't want to be sending anyway. They're like the Advanced Arsenal. Like, only if it gets really late would you ever actually send it. But yeah, it's
I don't see any key card missing here, really.
Yeah. So Mito did start off with a trading post, and now actually going for 2 trading posts now. So he's going to be getting a lot of shipments coming in pretty soon. I'm wondering how many units he's going to be making in Colonial, if any. And my guess would be he's going to make a few Hussars.
He does see the barracks going down here. He's got his scouts nicely positioned.
Yeah.
And in stealth, yeah.
And Tit went with the...
So he sees exactly what's happening.
Yeah. So Tit going for an outpost wagon, maybe an interesting decision compared to 500 food. It kind of speaks to how much aggression he expects Mitoe to be doing early on. Mitoe making a forward stable right next to his trading post, so he is going to be making a few units probably early on. So this was not a bad decision. And also, yeah, putting it next to this hunt and this mine, going to be really good for him later on as the game progresses. He's going to have a lot of security over quite a few mines.
Well, looks like this scout is going to be discovered.
Yeah. Not too bad as long as he pulls it away in time, and he doesn't, but... Well, I don't know. Okay. Yeah, at least he has another one, I think. Oh yeah, he's still got one more.
Yeah, he still has
okay.
this one.
So yeah, it looks like Mitoe is going to be getting a couple of hussars out and starting his barracks. I expect him to be going to age up pretty much as soon as he can. Sending 700 wood first. Actually, he might be staying in H2 a little bit. He's making 2 barracks now. Sending 700 wood, now 4 CDB. So he might be trying to put down a little bit of pressure early on before going into H3. A little bit of an inattention by Tit there. Actually managed to, or did not hit the hussars and get the free shots when he could have. Mitoe getting a little bit of pressure down on the villagers, but not likely to actually kill any. But at the very least, he is going to be keeping Tit back. You saw that all those musketeers were moving over to Mitoe's base to go kill a bunch of things. And now, because of these hussars, he's not able to do that.
Oh right, that's actually pretty nice. He could have lost this forward base or something.
Yeah. Honestly, he probably, if Tit wanted to, he probably could have still done it. And just accepted the hussar pressure, and maybe gotten quite a bit of damage down. Probably gotten the stable and the barracks maybe before having to pull back because of muskets. But now 10 musketeers out from Mitoe. And he sees this position right here. He is going to be able to get a little bit more pressure down. He's got an opportunity to do some damage here. Yeah, my guess was Tit was not actually expecting these muskets to be out. I don't think he scouted the 2 barracks, and he was splitting up his muskets a lot, and you can see that has given Mitoe an opportunity to do a little bit more damage. He did lose a lot of those hussars, which I don't think he planned to do, but he has been able to take advantage of the fact that these musketeers are split off, trying to guard from 2 sides at once, and he is maybe going to be able to get this barracks down.
Yeah, it looks like he's committing to the colonial play.
Yeah, he has to be a bit careful here. Minutemen being called, that's going to push him off. Oh, but wow, that's a big army coming in from Mitoe now.
Yeah, even those Minutemen are not enough to scare this army.
Yeah, very strong timing coming out now, and Tit's now on the back foot. I think the Minutemen were called a little bit preemptively. Still got some hussars causing some problems here. I think Tit's just going to go punch these. He's going to get maybe 1 villager. And I should have moved this economic population bar out a while ago. Yeah, he's going to get this barracks. I don't think Tit dies outright here. There's still enough musketeers that it's not... Mitoe can't do a timing that just kills him. So Mitoe may be claiming a small advantage right here. Just getting this barracks, causing a bit of pressure here, forcing Tit to move his barracks back and rebuild it. But now we have to see what's going to happen next. What are the players going to go for? Looks like Mitoe's now shipping that 700 gold, and he actually has a bunch of gold already, so he's going to be aging up. Meanwhile, Tit still has a pretty strong economic lead, just by general British things. So I'm interested to know if he's going to follow the age up or just stay in age 2 and add more buildings. Yeah. Looks like another barracks coming down for going 2 barracks. I want to know if he's going to go for a staple. I think now he thinks that Mitoe is going to be staying in H2, which is not an unreasonable decision, seeing as Mitoe came in with a lot of units just there. But Mitoe is in H3, and now these 2 barracks are going to be tough without a couple of hussars to deal with skirmishers.
And all this time Mitoe knows exactly what's happening.
Right.
He still has his scout. Just scouting here.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. Scouts mid-game are just extremely powerful. Knowing where your opponent's army is at all times and knowing what their army is composed of is extremely powerful as the game progresses. So now Tit is making a stable. I think, yeah, he notices now that with Mitoe in H3, it's not going to be sufficient to just have musketeers. What's interesting now to me is Mitoe going to be able to hit a timing before there's a lot of hussars out, where he's able to get a lot of shots off on these musketeers with skirmishers. He's got some skirmishers in queue right now. It looks like he only got 7, but he also has these 2 falconets coming too.
Yeah, and there are absolutely no hussars yet, so
Yeah,
these falconets
interestingly,
are going to be really strong.
Tit is not making hussars. He's actually just saving all of his resources to go for an age up. So, this might be a little bit tough for him because the falconets are out. There's some skirmishers, and this timing is going to be lasting for another while. And actually, Tit does cancel his age up goals. He is queuing up hussars. He's queuing up some musketeers now. And interestingly, making a trading... Oh, okay, making... from my UI, it looked like a native trading post, but it's just a regular one. But yeah, even so, I think this was a strong timing for Mitoe, kind of catching Tit at a point where he wanted to age up, but then had to cancel that, and then just make a bunch of units, because he needs to do something about these falconets. And I don't think he has 90 seconds or 100 seconds to do something about it. Yeah, it looks like Tit's going to be remaking his stable. I don't think he's going to be able to get... He might actually get another batch of hussars out of it. Right now, I think what his goal is to have enough hussars, put these musketeers in stagger mode, and just try to get a catch, noting the fact that Mitoe doesn't actually have a lot of anti-cav right now. Mitoe, meanwhile, is responding by making more dragoons, making more skirmishers to be able to do what he can about it.
Looks like he's going in.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, the musketeers weren't in a great position there. He is going to be losing... actually, he did save that cannon for a little bit to see if he can quite catch it. But even so, yeah, it doesn't matter. There's so many musketeers out now and not enough skirmishers. But with these skirmishers coming in down from the south, Mitoe still may be able to take this fight. He has to... He's getting like a little bit of a surround right now on these musketeers. Because of the positioning of them, it's not possible for the musketeers to take any one fight easily. But he does need to bring those dragoons in, and yeah, he's doing so.
Oh, this scout is slowing him down now.
Yeah. 3 cuirassiers coming in as well, and another 4 dragoons. So Mitoe does have the bigger army right now, just all positioned in awkward locations right now, whereas Tit's army is a little bit more concentrated. So losing a few free skirmishers there, but he does have a decent number of dragoons right now. He does have a decent number of skirmishers and a little bit of cuirassier. So I think he's stabilized. Maybe not the way he wanted to. I think he wanted to just have those 2 falconets up and just win from there. But his position isn't so bad anymore. Coming in with a little bit of looking, I guess, for some villagers right now. Didn't actually find them. He's going to be finding these ones over on this coin mine over here, but He's only finding them with Dragoons, not with the Cuirassier as he wanted. I'm surprised
And
he hasn't...
actually, it is switching
wow.
off to some water play and some mills.
Yeah, interesting. I guess he knows at this point that the villagers that are over here are on a clock basically. They're not going to live forever, and he's not going to be able to move a lot of villagers over there. So he's going to be forced onto mills and docks to be able to continue to get food. I'm curious to know if he wants to go for the age up still. You can see he has the resources almost to do it. He just doesn't have the asking if he's on mills yet. He just doesn't have the coin right now and no access to the coin. And yeah, Mitoe asking indeed if Tit is on mills, which he is. You can see that Mitoe's been looking around for where Tit has been hunting for a bit. Hasn't been able to find any hunts. Yeah, overall though, I think that Mitoe is now in an advantageous position. He doesn't have to go kill Tit right now, because he's an age up, because he still has map control, he has access to all the hunts. All he has to do is wait and catch up economically, taking advantage of the fact that Tit is not going to be able to play economically while he's on mills, and even while he's on fishing boats, as long as Mitoe catches that. Meanwhile, I think his main hope is that he's going to be able to get his fish boom going and not have Mitoe discover that and not have that responded to. And then he's going to be able to stabilize by having enough units on the sea to be able to continue to get resources. But it is looking a little bit tough. I mean, there's so many Dragoons out right now, not a lot of Thar.
Yeah, there's not much these H2 units can do.
Actually, those Dragoons getting a little bit out of position right there. But, okay, maybe not that out of position. Yeah, it looks like I think Tit just doesn't have enough units anymore to be able to do anything about this.
Yeah, he's just gonna lose everything here.
Looks like Tit is doing some mass migration of villagers right now over here.
I'm not sure what's that about.
Not sure, yeah. And another set of migrations over here. This one Mitoe probably knows about and is going to be able to catch. Okay, he's making a dock. Oh, he's making caravels. Okay, so I guess he's going to put all the villagers into caravels and then stall out the game for a little bit. But yeah, I don't know if that's going to matter very much. Mitoe is making a dock himself.
Mitoe putting down a dock of his own.
Yeah, and I think
Maybe he's gonna make use of those water cards now.
Yeah. I mean, he sent all the... I mean, he doesn't need anything else on
here we
land.
go.
Yeah, there's the frigate. Yeah, at this point, I think, you know, last game we saw Mitoe stall it out for a little bit, past the point where it's pretty obvious that he was going to be losing. Now we're seeing the reverse from Tit. This is not... in like a normal ladder game, this is just kind of being annoying. In a tournament setting, it's not so bad because there's a legitimate reason to stall out games. It kind of lets you reset and cool down after playing a game. You have an opportunity to sort of reflect on what went wrong and what you can do for the next match. So it's not necessarily optimal for you to just immediately go to the next series. So in this case, yeah, the players are taking a little bit long to leave games that they've definitely lost, but I can't blame them for that. Yeah, Tit calls GG. So game 2 going to Mitoe, score is now 1-1. Looking at the villager population, I think we see that Tit had a pretty substantial villager lead the entire game. But the problem was that he was fighting in Age 2 for most of that, and he didn't have Mitoe's timings were just very strong, right? He came in with a big set of musketeers and crossbowmen right when Tit didn't expect him to, and thought he was just going to be aging up. Then when Tit is responding to that musketeer timing or musketeer crossbowman timing, Mitoe is aging up, and then when Tit is looking to age up himself, Mitoe's coming in with falconets. So a lot of very strong timings from Mitoe that Tit was just a little bit slow to respond to. That kind of won him the game there.
Yeah, really well played from Mitoe. And I'm sure those scouts helped him a lot to identify what Tit is doing.
Yeah. Looks like they're going to 2.2B. I'm going to ask if they can do 2.2C. Or if this is 2.2C, just mislabeled. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'll check real quick. Okay, yeah. Alright, so going into game number 3, we've got Mitoe picking first. Tit has used up his two main civs, I guess, the British and the Indians. And he's not going to be able to get them back until game 5. So I want to know what he's going to do next. Mitoe, meanwhile, I think he's got a pretty deep civ pool, so I think he's going to still have a lot of stuff to pick. And actually picking Dutch, so I was playing with Mitoe, or at least observing his games, right before this series. Just about an hour before, and I did see he was trying to think of civs to play on this map, and Dutch was one of those civs. So he has, I think, some stuff prepared for this game.
Yeah, Dutch seems pretty good on this map. Not really dependent on trading posts and stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
What do you think should be the counter pick here from Tit?
My best guess would be a mirror, because, right,
Could be.
it's tricky if you've already used up British and you've already used up India. Yeah, and he goes for the mirror.
Here it is.
So, you on this map, right, you need a civ that doesn't rely on trading posts. And the ones that I can think of would be Japan, Russia, British, Indians, and Dutch. But then Japan is always a little tricky because they've got a lot of matchups that they just lose outright. And Russians are a little bit weak on this patch, so Dutch, if you don't have British or Indians, then Dutch makes the most sense. So yeah, going into game 3 between Mitoe versus Tit of the round of 8 of the ESOC Autumn Tournament. This map is now Thar Desert. Mitoe spawning in the bottom side of the map, playing the teal Dutch, and now Tit spawning in the top side of the map, playing the blue Dutch as well. Taking a quick look at the treasures, because the treasures on this map actually matter a little bit. There's a few really strong treasures, and then a couple of that just don't matter that much. And knowing where those good treasures are is very important. So the main ones are this 50 wood treasure, the 85 wood over here, and then the 90 wood on the opposite side. And finding these is very important. So Mitoe looks like he found the 90 wood right off the bat, but Tit does have the pleasure of getting both the 50 wood and the 85 wood, as long as he can find both of them. Looks like Tit is going to be heading to this 85 wood treasure as well. Actually, and he leaves... he might just miss it, and that's going to be really unfortunate for him.
Oh, he did see it. He did see it.
He did? Oh, okay. Oh, okay, I guess he's just waiting for his crack shot to come back up then. Mitoe, meanwhile, picked up that 90 wood treasure, and now he's going to go look for what's next for him. It's going to be this 40 food. After getting the 90 wood, there's not much left to do, because a lot of the treasures are either not that valuable or difficult to pick up, or both, I guess, in the case of this one. So yeah, he's going to be just doing whatever he can, scouting out the map a little bit, and then going into H2, where he's going to be putting up a lot of banks, most likely. I did see a little bit about what the Dutch mirror does look like, and I think Mitoe is going to be going for a pretty bank-heavy strategy, with 700 wood first, and then try to go into H3. And, you know, it's probably going to be doing something pretty similar. Not necessarily the same card order. Basically, putting a lot of banks up, going into H3, and then doing a skirm Reuter and Hussar composition.
Yeah, that's kind of the standard Dutch play. We probably won't see any colonial shenanigans going on.
Just like a little bit of colonial, maybe, with some Hussars.
Maybe some Hussars, and
yeah.
that's it.
But that's always tricky to do, because you have to be very careful about the Hussars that you make in H2, because if you lose, it's very easy to just lose all of them and have your opponent lose none of them, just because you get caught, and you don't want that to happen ever. So you have to be very careful about how you maneuver them. And yeah, we're getting a treasure contention right here, and I think it's going to be close. Mitoe does pick it up first, and almost got... Oh, he is going to get the snare. Nope. Okay, I think he's just going to kill it with wait? Okay. I think there is an opportunity to just take it right there, to kill it with shots. But he's not going to be doing so. I think he's going to look for it at some other point in time. I mean, the Explorer is very low on hit points. Maybe he can get another snipe later on. Looks like both players aging up at almost exactly the same time. And oh, that's unfortunate.
He's going for a snipe.
Yeah. Tit had a little bit of bad luck there, where he accidentally clicked his town valor or something. That always happens at the least convenient times for me too. And you know, you lose all those villager seconds just at the worst possible time. But I think he's going to be doing pretty all right still. I don't know. Okay, looks like yeah, Tit did manage to keep his Explorer alive, and he has aged up. But Mitoe definitely came out ahead in Age 1 after all those treasures. He got the treasure steal, got all the small like gold and food treasures, and Tit did get about a little bit more wood, but Mitoe still got a big wood treasure. So I would say he is ahead in Age 1. And that's pretty common with Mitoe. I think he has a very strong Age 1 play. Looks like the first divergence of builds coming in. Mitoe is going to be going for the market, while Tit is not. But Tit is going to have a little bit more resources, and maybe we'll be getting up his 4th and 5th banks a little bit faster as a result. Whereas Mitoe is going to have hunting dogs, etc. I don't know if it's going to matter too much, this difference of builds. at least early game. We'll see as the game progresses how much it ends up actually mattering. Both players having identical card orders so far with the 700 wood. And I wouldn't be surprised if they had similar third cards as well.
Yeah, both players having their 3 banks.
Yep, third bank coming in for both players. And no stable in sight just yet. Fourth bank for Tit. Actually a stable for Mitoe coming up. Sorry, I missed that one. So fourth bank for Tit, meanwhile a stable for Mitoe, which Tit actually scouts. So, and actually a fifth bank now for Tit with the bank wagon. So Tit playing very economically right now. Mitoe, meanwhile, he's only got 3 banks. He doesn't. He is sending that bank wagon a little bit later than Tit actually. So 4 banks in a stable versus 5 banks. Mitoe is going to need to put down a little bit of pressure now in order to make that worthwhile. Or actually putting up a 5th bank himself. So maybe just doing the same thing but just a little bit later. It's going to matter for a little bit of gold but not a lot. And actually Tit putting up a bunch of walls, and I really like this decision by him. He's putting up a very, very defensive position right here. And it's going to be working out pretty well for him, I think.
It seems like there are no hussars in queue yet.
Yeah.
Perhaps he's just not gonna make any.
Yeah, I think after it got scouted, he just said, whatever. It's not worth it anymore. So
Yeah, probably.
yeah, so he's just going to have the stable down for later on. He takes a loss of a little bit of gold because he's getting his 5th bank down later on. The hope is that he gets Tit to overcommit to defenses, which, he put down a few walls, but I don't think that is so bad. It's maybe about 25 wood worth of walls. And Tit hasn't really defended otherwise. So
yeah, they could
kind
still
of,
be useful.
yeah, it's kind of even for both players. Both players are going to be clicking up to H3 at almost exactly the same time as well. Mitoe coming in a few seconds later. But yeah, I would say that the builds are almost exactly mirrored so far, right? They've both got their market now. They've both got 5 banks, the same card order. So looks like Mitoe is going to be a little bit ahead on the tech with hunting dogs, steel traps, and placer mines right now. Whereas Tit is still waiting on a couple of those techs. But overall, yeah, it's a very similar build. Looks like Tit is going to be starting off with a couple of skirmishers. He's got 5 right now, whereas Mitoe hasn't actually started his unit production, waiting on that second barracks. Now has 2 skirmishers in queue, and some raiders. Maybe getting that explorer might not be, just out of range now. But yeah, both players came into H3 in a pretty similar position. It's going to come down now to how they play it out in H3 because their builds were, with a little bit of different ordering of things are virtually the same now. As long as Tit is
we
going
see
to...
the first difference in cards.
Oh, okay, yeah,
I see 1,000 wood coming. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about that actually? To have Mitoe send 1,000 wood and Tit to do the 8 skirmishers.
Well, what is he going to do with this 1,000 wood? Really?
Mm-hmm.
He's getting down a lot of houses.
Yeah, that's a good point, I guess, because you get all your houses, right? But it always feels a little bad to spend your 1,000 wood on houses. You can get veteran upgrade for your hussars, but your skirmishers are automatically veteran, your Reuters are automatically veteran, and if you come in with 5 banks, there's not a lot to spend your wood on. So yeah, I think Mitoe might be floating a little bit of wood for some time. looks like we had a little bit of engagement in the center. Mitoe gave some Reuters away for free, but he does have a pretty good skirmisher mass right now, and it's certainly not going to be enough for Tit to push into. So, and as long as another player has Hussars, it's going to be really hard for one player to just lose the game outright from skirmisher wars. So we're seeing, I think, a pretty methodical, pretty slow game. Both players are just maxing their economy as much as they can, not trying to go for a quick win here. But Mitoe is going to be losing a couple of villagers there, maybe. Oh wow, one HP on that last one. Yeah, it's unlucky for Tit. And actually,
yeah, it looks like we start to see some deviation in the cards.
Yeah, so 8 skirmishers,
another
7
skirms
yeah.
going for Tit.
Yeah, I am liking the skirmisher combat shipment here. I think the game is so slow right now. The economies have been just maxed out as much as I can. Both players pretty much did a full eco build, right? That the number of skirmishers that are going to be out is going to be massive. I'm willing to bet that Mitoe skirmishers, despite having 15 fewer of them, are going to be doing better. And actually, Mitoe is leading in the skirmisher count a little bit right now.
Those long-term upgrades might be worth it at this point. And Mitoe does have the ability to mass pretty quickly because he has 2 stables and 2 rexes.
Right.
Unlike Tit.
Yeah, is Tit still staying on 1 barracks, 1 stable?
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, okay. That's going to be tough for him. I think he is going to need to get another building up pretty soon because he's down in skirmishers right now. And these raiders, of course, they just don't do anything right now when there's no hussars. Oh wow, Mitoe sends out infantry attack as well. So, just going for a full upgrade path. Engagement in the center right now. It feels like Tit has more skirmishers, but I'm not sure if that's actually true. I need to go check the military unit. Yeah, Mitoe still has more. Even though...
Mitoe does have both the upgrade cards for his skirmishers.
Yeah, okay, Tit now sending in 1 of his own. But still, Mitoe's skirmishers are going to be a little bit better with the infantry attack. So yeah, I think Mitoe still maintains a military advantage here. And actually, yeah, getting a raid as well. Nice for him. Yeah, as the game kind of proceeds into this later stage, it's going to be more and more important about where the players are getting their resources. Mitoe is further up in the map, and that means that he's going to have control over a lot of these hunts right in the center, as well as some of these gold mines. And he's able to mine and hunt safely. So as long as he's able to continue maintaining that position, I think he will be ahead. And as long as Tit is staying on this 1 barracks, 1 stable, it's going to be really hard for him to catch up.
We see another upgrade card from Mitoe. Team infantry hit points.
Yeah.
So these guys have 3 cards on them actually.
Yeah, that's actually quite a bit of upgrades now. So that's 30% for attack and HP on each skirmisher, plus another 20% for the veteran upgrade. So they're basically 50% over the baseline, and that means that these skirmishers are going to be incredibly strong. Looks like Tit went for a raid of his own, but it wasn't really enough, and Mitoe was able to catch that. He has to be careful though. It's always risky when you move your raiders away from your skirmishers that you get caught by hussars, which hasn't happened in this case. And I don't think that there's even hussars in queue for Tit. But it's always something you have to be a little bit aware of when you do these pulls like this. both players actually called Minutemen in this case. But yeah, there's a big fight going on in the middle. I think that Mitoe, just by virtue of having more upgraded skirmishers, and probably more of them as well, is going to be able to negate the defender's advantage that it has.
Yeah, Mitoe is taking this fight and even building a forward barracks here.
Yeah. Oh, 2 forward barracks. Yeah, that's a smart decision in this case. Just because by doing this, he's moving the reinforcement point to be roughly the same for both players, and as a result, Tit's not going to be able to defend or have that defender's advantage. As long as both fights stay in this area, then both players are going to be able to reinforce at equal speeds. And Mitoe knows that because we've got a lot of hunts here, we've got a lot of coin mines here, he knows that fights are going to be staying in this this rough area. So good decision by him to actually put these barracks up. And it looks like actually there's a lot of villagers over here, and I think Mitoe knows.
Yeah, I think he's seen it now.
Oh no, yeah, this is really unfortunate for Tit right now. Yeah, just resigns outright from that. That was going to be tough to come back from if that happened. So yeah, Mitoe takes game 3, goes up 2-1 now in the best of 7 series.
Yeah, so it looks like those upgrades really paid off for Mitoe.
Yeah, I would say that was the main thing, right? Just having more upgrades, whereas Tit was sending unit shipments, and having more buildings to make units. Even though Tit wasn't, well, he was building a little bit of resources, right? He was building about 1,000 coin at the end there. I think that he noticed that because both players had just focused purely economically, unit shipments are going to be relatively minor. The addition that each unit shipment makes on the current army you have is going to be somewhat small compared to just upgrading all of your skirmishers across the board. So sending those unit shipments, or sending those upgrade cards, and then sending or making those barracks and stables helped him out, I think, in this case. So now going into game 4, the map is now Alaska, which is not a map I'm too familiar with.
Yeah, that's one of the new maps.
Yeah, we've actually got a lot of new maps in this set, right? A lot of which I did not get a chance
quite
to
a
play.
few. I think like 4 or 5.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't get to play on most of them because I got eliminated, like, really early on.
We still have the second chance, right?
Yeah. Well, hopefully I won't get eliminated early on from that one either. Oh, okay. It's yeah, I know the map now. Alaska. It's the one with there's no trading posts. You've got that water kind of going from the bottom left to the top right and going like in a crescent shape. And it has whales.
That's the one.
So big big no TP map.
Well, I don't know if it's a big map. I would say it's not so big. The rush distance is quite small.
Yeah, it's a very small rush distance, and as well as one without trading posts. And I think so. What we saw Thar Desert last, and then before that it was Florida. Okay, so this is the second no TP map in a row, but there's only been 2 so far. Unfortunately, both players took, or rather, took a lot of the no TP civs so far. I guess the Iroquois are a decent one on no TP map. Iroquois actually just an interesting pick in general. We don't see a lot of them that often, especially on EP.
Yeah, perhaps we'll see some Town Destroyer.
I think Mitoe was a little bit surprised about the pick as well, because he has to think for a little bit about this one. Evidently, Mitoe had no idea that this one was coming.
Yeah, he's really thinking hard on what to do.
I guess what? Yeah, India. That makes sense. It's one of those positions where you still have to pick a civ that doesn't need a trading post, and you have to be careful of a lot of different things that Iroquois can do. Mainly, they can go in really hard against you and rush you, but they can also play a more typical semi-FF sort of style. I don't know how well their semi-FF works on a non-trading post map. My inclination is to say that it doesn't work very well, but still, I think that it's something that Mitoe has to be aware of. Meaning that he has to be a little bit careful about his civ that he picks. He has to be able to handle both a fast rush and a semi-FF. Alright, so we're going into Game 4 between Mitoe versus Tit. This is the round of 8 of the ESOC Autumn 2017 tournament. Mitoe currently leads 2-1 in the series. It's a best of 7. So in the bottom left corner of the map, we've got Tit spawning in the dark blue color, playing the Iroquois. And then in the top right corner of the map, we've got Mitoe playing the light blue color, and also playing as the Indians. Doing a quick check on the hunts. Yeah, okay, they look relatively even to me.
Yeah, seems fine.
Yeah, looks like Tit's mine situation is a little bit better. But I don't think it's worth getting a restart. I think Tit has 1 extra mine close to him, but then, or maybe actually 2 extra, but then Mitoe's, the mines in general lean a little bit more towards Mitoe. We see, yeah, very early treasure going in for Tit. He got the Outlaw Rifleman, and now actually going for the Cherokee treasure. But Mitoe did scout that very early on, and I think that's going to make it really inconvenient for him to go for this. And actually, if he loses this treasure, it would be really unfortunate for Tit. But actually, wow, so the aggro changed over from Tit to Mitoe. Did you see that?
Yeah, they both really want this treasure.
Yeah. I didn't realize that like Treasure Guardian could change its target after it's already picked one. And actually, yeah, Mitoe is
like
going to get that
Mitoe's got
treasure,
it.
yeah. So yeah, pretty unfortunate for Tit right there. He's going to be losing that treasure. He still gets the Guardian, and I would argue that the Guardian that you convert is more valuable than the Cherokee Rifleman, just because it has so much damage. But
the problem is he can be stunned by the ability, right?
yeah, it can, yeah. And you can crack shot it too.
Well, not as India,
Yeah. Or not it, yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, looks like both players are actually microing quite a bit this entire fight. One of Mitoe's elephants is actually very low on hit points and could be shot down with just one shot by a rifleman and then a little bit of Iroquois.
He's
attacks,
got
yeah.
it.
Oh, and yeah, he gets that. So good start for Mitoe so far, although his Explorer is getting a little bit low. And I think it's possible that if he's not careful, Tit will be able to kill it.
I think he's gonna get away. Maybe.
Yeah, it's going to be close. I think there's another shot coming in right there, and then, yeah. Meanwhile, Mitoe, I think he's going to be going for this treasure over here, this native scout. So continuing to expand his army. And I want to see if Mitoe is going to be aging up anytime soon. Looks like he isn't going to be going for a 10-10 or anything of the sort.
This elephant's still being chased down.
Yeah, but yeah,
He's gotta get
unfortunately Mitoe ran out of space on the map. A little bit of banter between the two players there. And yeah, that actually distracted Mitoe quite a bit. I was watching him herd the hunts away at the time. And I think we got a donation just there, because either I got a shipment. Oh. Okay. I unfortunately didn't see the donation chat on the screen, so I don't know who donated or how much they donated or what they even said, but thank you for the donation. And yeah. Either there's a donation or I got a shipment, but I expect it to be a donation. So it looks like Mitoe is going to be aging up. He's going to be putting this defensive aggro.
Yep.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. He's going for the invase aggro.
Yeah. And Tit, meanwhile, is aging up a little bit earlier. I believe it's a slow age up, although I can't quite tell. And a market, and he's going to be getting another treasure. So he's in a pretty good position. I want to know how aggressive he's planning to go in this game. If he wants to... Actually, is this the fast age up? I can't tell. No, it's a slow age up. Never mind.
Yeah, it's a slow age up. It's the wise woman. And he's got a nice
you can just
treasure,
tell.
95
Yeah.
wood.
Okay, yeah.
Looks
Mitoe
like he's not
actually
going for,
had
for a lot of aggression because he's even got a market down.
Yeah. Interestingly, though, Mitoe is not expecting, or is expecting Tit to be pretty aggressive because he's putting 6 villagers on this aggro fort right now. So he really wants to get up very quickly. Both players are actually going to be aging up about the same time because of so many villagers on the fort.
Taking a farm from his age up travel.
Oh, interesting, yeah. So is that the 2 Travois age up? I'm not too familiar with Euro age ups.
It's the resource age up.
Oh, resource and Travois? Okay, yeah. And then just
He's
building
just
a little
building
hut.
this dwarf
Okay, yeah.
with a villager.
Makes sense. Okay. So...
And he's found another wood treasure over here.
Oh yeah, he did. So yeah, I think it looks like he's getting one of these upgrades. And I should have been looking at the these tabs. So it looks like he's getting the food upgrade from the farm, and not being too aggressive. He's setting the Forcania as his first card in Colonial, but not putting a very forward war hut and making that farm early on. So I think he's going to be going for a pretty economic style early game. Yeah, it looks like the Kanya not doing too much. I think he could have taken that fight if he wanted to against the 2 Sepoy and the Cherokee, and the aggro. But
the problem is there could have been more Sepoy
yeah,
coming out from that aggro.
Yeah. Looks like both players are still playing very economically. Tit is getting another market upgrade. Meanwhile, Mitoe is getting the second tier market upgrade with all the resources.
Yeah, the next shipment is 600 wood for both players actually.
Mitoe's shipment is a little bit later actually. Looks like he's roughly a shipment behind this. In this. Looks like a little bit of more aggression coming in, but not able to do too much.
And we do see another scout from Mitoe being used really well.
Oh yeah, very very strong. That definitely had a major contribution last game. Or yeah, on in game 2 that was a big contributor to Mitoe's victory. And I think if Mitoe wins this game, I think it will also be a big contributor to Scout. So I think Tit may be going for this treasure right here. I think he's smartly noticing that there's still a few good treasures left on the map. And yeah, this 2 CDB is a very, very powerful one. Just to be a bit careful, actually, to make sure he doesn't lose the Explorer, but...
It was a bit close.
Yeah. But yeah, 2 CDB, and then there's still this 150 XP treasure as well, which is pretty good. And then even this this last treasure, the 30% Explorer HP, for both civilizations, that's actually quite strong, because both Indians and Iroquois use their explorers or their respective heroes quite heavily. The monks just to stop things, and then the Iroquois hero wants to be doing all of the crack shot abilities.
Oh,
yeah, and actually, nice. Yeah. I wonder why that. They'll stealth because of the war chief, I guess. So yeah, Mitoe is still a shipment behind, and Tit's taking advantage of that by going into Age 3. He's been able to send to 600 gold and now hitting up to Age 3. Mitoe, meanwhile, is still a couple of resources, just a little bit of gold away from that. But he is planning to go to Age 3 himself. This gives Tit a pretty good timing here, I think. He's going to be in Age 3 with, I think, a shipment coming in pretty soon. I think pretty much. Well, if Mitoe puts all of its villagers onto this wonder, I think Mitoe may be able to hold here. Hold the timing, that is. But I think Tit does have a window here. If we look at what's in queue, we've got...
Mitoe aging with the Tower of Victory.
Yeah. In queue, Tit has a bunch of forest prowlers as well as musket riders coming in, so he's going to be going for this sort of Sturm Goon style composition, I think. Putting up another war hut, I believe. Let me go find it.
Yeah, over here.
Ah, okay, yep. And then... Yeah, I'm wondering how well he's going to make this timing work, because the musket riders and the forest prowlers don't have a lot of siege, and then he's got a lot of different units, but not a lot of high siege units. So I think, yeah, Mitoe's going to be able to go into Age 3 now.
He's going for a raid here, I think.
Oh yeah, that could actually be pretty damaging. There's, I think, 4 villagers right there. Yeah, actually, I mean, even that alone is probably going to pay off pretty well for Tit. He's not going to win the game with his timing, but he is going to get a few villagers down before Mitoe really has the ability to respond. he only had 3 Zamburex out there at that point, and only now is he going to be able to get enough Zamburex to actually stop some of these raids. Mitoe does have
9 Zambrax coming in for Mitoe.
Yeah, I would like to see him upgrade those up to the veteran status. The Gurkha are going up to veteran status right now, but the Zam's not yet. And I think that's what he's going to need.
Yeah, he should do that as soon as possible. And he's doing it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Good for him. I think, yeah, Tit does have a slightly larger army right now, and he is going to be able to take these fights. Although his army isn't quite as strong in some regards, because a lot of these units are the Ayana or the Tomahawks or the Kanya, which are just not worthwhile to upgrade right now. If he's not going to be if he's not going to be making a lot of them, then it's not worthwhile to upgrade them. And it's pretty much not worthwhile to make a lot of Tomahawks or Ayana. So those are going to stay kind of weak the entirety of the game. Really nice move actually from Tit right here, taking one of those cougars and moving it over onto the side of the map. So he's going to be able to know when Mitoe goes back onto that hunt. And I think he's going to be able to
that's
just
pretty nice.
Yeah, put some more Kanya over there when it happens. Doing a similar thing, I would say, with this grizzly bear over here. Just having a little bit of vision and actually moving it a little bit further. So maybe even going for the top hunt right here. Mitoe, meanwhile, picking up this treasure, which I think is a good decision on his part.
And here we go, Mitoe is spotted.
Yeah. And that's a lot of villagers, and I don't think that Mitoe even notices that the cougar is over there, because he didn't move anything over. Oh, actually, okay, he does now. Yeah.
I think he does.
Yeah. So even though the cougar is dead, I think this is still good for Tit, because he knows that there are villagers over there, right? So he knows he can't go now because all of Mitoe's units are there, but he can go at some point later on in the game and do something about all those villagers over there. He just has to put pressure down on this left side of the map, which is exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, and Mitoe did pick up the treasure that increases HP of his explorers. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's a really good one. Looks like trying to look for the crack shot opportunity. I actually don't know the ability name. I know it's not called crack shot, but...
He
wow.
died before he could use it, I think.
Wow, there's actually a lot of Gurkha out for Mitoe right now. That's
7 Irumis coming.
Oh yeah, and the Irumi. Yeah, I think Mitoe might be...
And the inspiration.
Move those Zamburex in, but... And yeah, some good elephant stops coming in too. Yeah, I think there's just so many units out for Mitoe right now with all those Irumi, with all those Gurkha, and even enough Zamburex that Tit's in danger of just losing outright from this fight. A little bit of pathing issues, I think, kept the fight from going as well as it could have. Now these Zamburex going to look for something else to do. I think we saw something similar from last game where both players just go for this Storm Green comp. If nobody ever switches over to Cav, then there's not a lot of reason to make these goons. And oftentimes you can just use these goons to go do whatever, like kill villagers and stuff. I think Tit is decidedly on the back foot at this point now. In terms of both military and economic population, Tit is behind. And I'm willing to bet that these Gurkha are a little bit stronger than the Thar Swallows after they've got the upgrade. Trying to compare them.
Yeah, perhaps a little bit.
Yeah. It's not common to see, I think, this matchup. And oftentimes even to see a lot of Gurkha in the game in H3. So I'm not actually sure which of these units is more cost-effective. It had a little bit of a chance there with a couple of Kanya, but I don't think that there were enough against the numbers in Brax, and even the number of Gurkha out right now.
Yeah, Mitoe even putting down another TC here.
Yeah. He just has, I mean, that's a ton of Gurkha he's got right now. He's able to move these Zambaraks around. He doesn't have to worry too much about getting surprised by Kanya at this point. So he can kind of just do these movements with the Zambaraks to continue to pressure the villagers. Meanwhile, at the Gurkha, there are just so many of them that he can take whatever fight he wants. And yeah, Tit calls that 3-1 now to Mitoe. So yeah, a few opportunities there maybe for Tit to win that one, but my guess is that it's not an easy matchup for Iroquois at this point. I think that Iroquois after the change from RE to EP haven't really found their footing yet in terms of what they really should do in the different matchups. They're not a very well developed civ. In terms of like the playstyles, a lot of people don't play them, and so there's not a lot of theory crafting that's been done about them. Meanwhile, India, they got some changes on the new patch that changed them around a little bit, but their civ that gets played, I think, pretty heavily, and one that people know different matchups and different build orders with them.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what he could have done better.
Yeah.
He did to get those free villagers early on, and
yeah, but yeah, even at that point, he was
pressure,
behind
right?
in economic unit population, right? He got a few villagers, but he was still behind after that.
Yeah, it was just not enough. Yeah.
Yeah. It seemed like kind of one of the
both
games
of their
where,
Drake rolls and stuff. Yeah.
yeah. All right, so now. So yeah, civs have reset now, and Mitoe is now first pick. Are we all going to pick India now? Is that what we're doing? And also, we need to go find out the next map.
Next map.
Yeah, I'm going to go find it out.
Next map should be Malaysia.
Malaysia, okay. That was a map, I guess, that got introduced one tournament ago in the spring. So yeah, they vetoed.
Yeah, it's
Tibet.
Not the newest map, but it's pretty new.
And then if we continue to go, we'll see Mendocino and Jabal Musa afterwards. Alright, looks like Mitoe is picking Germans, and I'm guessing that Tit's going to pick India for this one still. But that's going to be interesting, right? Because we saw this matchup game 1, and Mitoe lost, and in many ways, it wasn't that close, right? It kind of just moved into his base and went and killed him. But Mitoe, I think, still feels confident about the matchup. Yeah, Tit readying up.
Perhaps we'll see the same thing again.
Yeah.
I can't read the picture.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
This is not something you fix with a rejoin, right? It has to be rehosted? Or...
I can try to relog, I guess.
I have to delete the map from my map folder. Maybe I should just actually delete it. That's fine.
I'm just gonna have to delete it as well, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's in Games, Age of Empires 3, RMF.
Yeah.
Alright.
I got it.
And then ESOC, Malaysia. I'll delete all the Malaysias. Both the XML and the .xs, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the ones.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask the chat who donated by the way. Alright, I can green up now.
Not yet. Here. Here we go.
Alright, nice.
Just
going
took a
into
while.
game number 5 of the round of 8 between Mitoe and Tit. Wait, game number 5 between Mitoe and Tit in the round of 8 of the ESOC Autumn Tournament 2017. This is on Malaysia, and Mitoe is currently leading 3-1 in the series, so it is match point for Tit now. A repeat of game 1 in terms of the matchup. Mitoe playing Germans and Tit playing Indians, but this is actually the match that Mitoe lost. So Mitoe still feels pretty confident about this matchup. He got the first pick here, meaning that he came into this matchup, I would say, expecting Tit to pick India. Due to a maybe slight miscommunication, Tit actually picked India before Mitoe picked his Germans, but yeah, I would say Mitoe still thinks he wins this one.
By the way, it looks like we've got a version with no water flags.
Oh, whoops.
Mitoe
All
is
right.
saying it. I'm not sure. No, it's fair. I mean, both have no water flags.
Yeah, so I guess if nobody cares, we can stay.
But Mitoe does want to flag.
I don't think he's actually going to go water, but... Oh, wait.
Oh. Alright.
Okay. Yeah, that's an easy solution. I don't think either player actually wanted the water flag, or actually cares, because Germans certainly aren't going to go water, and yeah, I don't think Tit was planning on going water either, so... Yeah, so this is a map where there's a lot of different cows that kind of go along the trading post line. Looks like Tit is picking up a few more than Mitoe so far. Mitoe, meanwhile, he's scouting off to this left side of the map, finding a little bit of wood treasure. But he didn't get the wood start, so his turn. Oh, he actually is going to go for a trading post. Never mind.
Like missing all those buffaloes.
Yeah, I'm actually interested. I guess. So he didn't start with a market. So he collected that gold, possibly mistakenly. He was distracted by the lack of a water flag, but he did chop, I guess, 200 wood then, just to get this trading post up, or close to 200 wood. That's going to put his age up down a little bit, so I guess he's just hoping that Tit is not going to go for a very aggressive build and just kind of go for, so not going for a 10-10, right? Just going for a more typical, on this patch, consulate strat. However, unfortunately for him, Tit is actually going for a 10-10, so we'll see what happens
I
here.
do see a house coming up.
Is that a house? Oh yeah, okay, never mind. It looked like a 10-10 for a little bit, but... Okay, so yeah, in this case, then Tit is going to be going for the more standard on the new patch style, where you don't go very aggressive, but you wait for your consulate and then you go in. And then Mitoe is probably going to go for the same thing that we saw in Game 1, right? You build enough units to survive the first and second pushes, then you try to age up, and then you try to hold on the third time. And in Mitoe's case, in Game 1 he didn't, and he died. So we'll see if he does it right the second time. It should be noted, I think, that Tit has actually gotten very good treasures as well as a lot of the water buffalo. He got the 90 wood earlier on, and now just got another 40 wood. So I think he's feeling pretty good about this entire thing.
Yeah, and he's got like 5 of those buffaloes.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
And yeah, he still actually has another buffalo on his side of the map. That he'll be able
Meanwhile,
to scout
Mitoe actually
soon.
already used up the buffaloes he had.
Yeah, I think he needed to do it just to be able to age up in time after chopping all of that wood. Yeah, so his age up is going to be pretty good actually, right? It's like a 440 age up, or a little bit earlier for Mitoe. Meanwhile, Tit is actually putting down an in-base aggro.
With 4 villagers.
Yeah, interesting. So kind of what we saw last game, but he is actually putting it even further defensively. This is still a map where it's hard to put down aggros just because of that trading line and also all these trees everywhere. But he certainly could have put that a bit more aggressively if he wanted to.
You could definitely put it like around here.
Yeah. So this reveals, I guess, a little bit of a difference in play this time for Tit. He's doing something that he isn't doing last game, or last time. And that's interesting because last time it worked for him, right? So I do want to know what motivates him to try this different in strategy. I think it's a conscious decision. It's not just a mistake on his part. But I'm interested to know his thinking at this point in the game.
Mitoe starting with Rex, just like last time.
Yep. And you can see a pretty similar building style in this case, right? Putting the market in front, the barracks a little bit forward and off to the side, and then houses to make a wall. So I think Mitoe is going to be doing exactly what we saw last time, but just trying to do it all a little bit better. Try to micro a little bit more, maybe make a few more crossbowmen. Meanwhile, Tit is making his decoy. He got a batch of 5 out this time. So I think he's going to try to put down a little bit of pressure, maybe hit this explorer, but not too long, and try to. Oh, actually, he is going to be going for the trading post, I think. Yeah, that is one difference on this map. Or actually,
I'm not sure.
I guess he's just trying to protect his.
He might just be protecting this villager.
Yeah. You do have to be aware of the Ulans that can come out. Mitoe feels a little bit more secure in this game. You saw last time he shipped 8 crossbowmen as his first guarded colonial. This time he did the 3 settler wagons. And that's good for him to be able to get a little bit of a larger mass earlier on, or go up to H3 faster.
He does send them now.
Yeah. Yeah, the difference in order though does give you a little bit more villager seconds. That can be useful. Meanwhile, Tit has done pretty well for himself too. He got 2 full batches of Seaboy out this time. And now actually that raid, yeah. Really unfortunate timing there for Tit.
Those Seaboys going away exactly at the wrong time.
Yeah. Yeah, right as he moved out, the Ulans were coming in.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate.
Yeah. Same order for Tit this time though, coming in with the 300 export. And, actually maybe getting another villager down there. He has to be a bit careful. Splitting up the Ulans actually, that's pretty smart. He's going to have this one Ulan around, I think, if he wants to continue raiding. But getting the majority of the Ulans out, just group up back with his main army.
He might even find those villagers, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think he saw them. Oh, and those stars are now catching the Ulan.
Yeah, he does get one Ulan, although I think Mitoe definitely came out ahead in that exchange right now. Coming in now with some pressure. But there are enough pikes out, so I don't know if this is going to be able to do much. I think it's going to be similar to what we saw last time, where it just puts down a little bit of pressure, but sees the number of crossbowmen and then backs away, and waits for the next timing to come to him. Actually, though, the 4 Sour are
4
out,
Sours.
and the pikemen aren't in great position right now. Yeah, Mitoe has to be very careful about how he maneuvers this pikeman, right? You need to not have too many of your pikemen picked off, but you always need to have them ready to deal with Soar. Looks like he did push back there. He called the Minutemen as well. And he's trying to use these Ulans to just catch the seaplane and use those Minutemen effectively. But even so, there's a lot of well, I don't know. I think Mitoe actually comes out ahead in this one.
This is looking like a good trade for Mitoe.
Yeah, I'm interested in that because he called the Minutemen. He got a snare with the Ulans, and then the Soar and the Hussard were just not around to deal with the crossbowmen. Even when the pikes were, I would say, a little bit out of position, just moving onto the sepoy. The Soar and the Hussar were not there to keep the pikemen honest, really. And so now I think Mitoe's pulled a pretty good lead, right? He's still ahead slightly economically. He's won that fight, and now I think he can move up to H3 pretty safely. Calling now or getting that 700 gold in, I think he's going to be aging up in just a minute. Meanwhile, Tit is, I think, feeling a little bit of pressure.
Two Ulans getting caught. Not able to do much, really.
Yeah, just kind of a scouting unit at that point, just to see what's up. I think we're going to see Mitoe age up. Yep, there we go. And now, I think he's a little bit more safe than he was in game 1.
Yeah, he seems to be in a better position now.
Yeah. I think it's possible that Tit's not even going to bother going to push in. He's just getting his caravanserai out and perhaps he'll go to H3 himself, or perhaps he'll just try to get a big mass. But he has to do something to deal with the skirmishers that are going to be coming out. Taking this trading post down too, I think he can do that more safely now. It's not really much of a commitment to go over here, especially since his army is not going to be able to do anything against Mitoe's main base. So, good decision by him to actually just take down the trading post while there's still time, because perhaps in a minute or two it's not going to be available to him.
Is Mitoe actually stacking a card? Yeah, he's sending some sort of mercenary shipment.
Yeah, it looks like he could be.
He's
He is
used
a
up
little bit
1,000
out.
gold.
Yeah. So I haven't actually checked his deck. I've not been doing too well at that this entire series, but yeah, I'd expect Black Riders at this point. I think he's got some pikemen, but maybe not enough to defend both the Jaegers and crossbowmen. Whereas Black Riders, I think, are just such a powerful shipment in general. So I think Tit is accepting that he's going to be playing this series in Age Down for now. Just massing up a bunch of units, not trying to go to H3. He's going to try to get just enough Sawar, enough Zambarak out to deal with the new H3 units that Mitoe's going to be making. And then just try to basically win by having a lot of stuff. And that's not unreasonable.
And there's the Black Riders, you were right.
I mean, Tit does have an economic unit lead, right? So it's not so out of the realm of possibility for him to just have more stuff and win by that. A lot of these units are still H2, the crossbowman pike, rather than the high-tech H3 units that Mitoe probably wants to be training. It's only these Black Riders that are offering that opportunity for him to have high
These
speed.
pikes do have a pretty good siege though.
Yeah, I know. That could be very dangerous. Actually, Tit not going for it.
Yeah, well, this Agra is going down.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in the game, the aggro is not so valuable. It really is just a tower plus a barracks at this point. So it's not the worst thing to lose. So yeah, big fight coming in now. The Black Riders need to do a lot of work. The pikemen were not really in position for this, and they're pulling back, and actually a lot of hussars are not coming on, but pulling away now. He has to be careful not to lose too many pikemen, because they're the only thing that can block against the Soar. The Black Riders don't do that.
Yeah, all the pikes are coming down.
Yeah, the pikemen are down, but there's not a lot of... Actually, another batch of 5 Soar coming in. He has to be very careful with this micro now to get these Black Riders to hit perfect shots. But still, there's not a lot of sepoy left. And wow, look at that 9.
From Mitoe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think enough skirmishers got mixed into this composition that at this point Mitoe's infantry mass is pretty stable. He's moving in a bunch of villagers. It's either a mistake, or he really needs to hunt, or he knows he's won the series.
I'm not sure.
I mean, I think he did come out pretty far ahead in that fight. And so, I think he can afford to do it. Yeah, Tit calls it. Game goes the series goes 4-1 to Mitoe. So Mitoe going to be advancing to the round of 4. I believe he's playing against Kaiserklein, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I know that they played back in the War Chiefs tournament. They played the third, fourth place match, but I feel like they also played in. Oh no, okay. So they played the third, fourth place match back in the spring tournament as well, and they played third, fourth in the War Chiefs. So back then, Mitoe lost to Kaiser Klein in third, fourth of spring, but then won in third, fourth of War Chiefs. But now they're meeting in the semifinals, so it's going to be interesting to see this now. I know that they play with each other a lot. They used to, especially in the last couple of years, they've been playing a lot together. So they're very familiar with each other's play styles, and they do a lot of practice games. So I think that's going to be a great series to watch. Probably going to come in sometime next week.
Yeah, so this should be a close one.
Yeah. But still, yeah, Mitoe makes it out of the round of 8 here. Unfortunately, it doesn't advance, but I believe in this tournament we do see everybody in the top 8 is going to get some payout. So he still gets a little bit of money off this one.
Oh, really?
So something kind of amusing just happened. Okay, so it looks like the prize pool distribution is still to be announced, but I do note that the top 8 is going to get a payout, so Tit is going to see a little bit of stuff. But yeah, Mitoe takes game 5. Of course, he goes for 1 up on the series, and he played that much better, I think, than he did game 1. He got a very good early or mid-colonial timing there. Caught a lot of Titinas off guard, and then actually got the 1 off that, basically, because now Tit wasn't able to make a timing when Mitoe was trying to age up. And from that, Mitoe was able to get the fortress securely and then just make his better units. So congratulations and well played to him. I think that's it for today in terms of streaming. This is the only round of 8 series going on today. I do have my second chance match against Timba going on in about an hour, I think. I don't know if I'm going to stream that. If I do stream it, it'll probably be on my personal channel, not this one. So you might want to go see that. But regardless...
Right, that's something to look forward to.
Yeah. Thank you all for watching. Eaglemut, thank you for casting. Mitoe and Tit, thank you for playing. And we'll see you all next time.